right, so you want to know how to deal with those stubborn types? Well, buckle up, because we're going on a deep dive into all things stubborn behavior. Get ready for some fun.
Yeah, it's a topic everyone can relate to, I'm sure.
Totally. On one end or the other. We're going to pull out the useful stuff, the actionable stuff, so you can kind of get a shortcut to understanding and navigating those kind of tricky moments.
Yeah, that's a dance for sure.
All right, so let's dive in. So let's say someone is being super stubborn.
Yeah.
What's like the very first thing I should try to remember? Because my gut reaction is usually like, ooh, frustration.
Yeah, you got to resist that first gut reaction. I think the first thing is to really try to stay calm.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're diffusing a bomb almost. Your own agitation can actually make it way worse.
Okay, stay calm.
Hmm.
But like, how? How do you stay calm when someone's being like a total mule?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Think about it like this. You've got a kid who just refuses to put their shoes on.
Right.
And you come in with why are you being so difficult?
Yeah.
You're just going to make things worse. But if you kind of calmly say, hey, tell me what's going on. What's with the no shoe stance today?
Right.
You're creating a space for understanding instead of an immediate battle.
Totally.
And you're modeling staying in control of your own emotions, and often that can help the other person do the same.
I see. So it's like, if I'm not freaking out, they won't freak out. Okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What if it feels like they're being stubborn just to be difficult, though? Is there something more to it than that, like more than just being difficult?
Almost always, yeah. Try to see it from their perspective.
Okay.
Maybe they're tired or overwhelmed. Maybe they're feeling like they haven't been heard.
Okay.
Sometimes stubbornness is kind of a symptom of a need that isn't being met. Maybe they're not feeling heard or they don't feel like their perspective matters.
So if someone's being stubborn about, let's say, chores, instead of just being like, you're being lazy, I could say, hey, are you feeling kind of overwhelmed right now? Or is there something about this specific chore that's bothering you?
Right. It's about trying to understand the why. Now, that doesn't mean we become doormats. What about rules and boundaries? We have to maintain those.
Totally. I don't want this to become like a free-for-all where anything goes.
Hmm.
So how do we walk that line?
Well, boundaries are crucial, right? People need to know what the expectations are and what happens if those expectations aren't met.
Good.
Consistency is so important, and it can really help if you explain the reasoning behind the rules. It makes it feel less random,
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So like a kid who wants to stay up way past their bedtime watching TV, it's not just like no TV after 8 p.m.
Yeah.
It's like no TV after 8 p.m. because you need to get enough sleep so you have energy to play tomorrow.
Exactly. Clear, consistent, and with a reason.
So it's not just like because I said so.
Right. But how do you avoid having every boundary turn into a wrestling match?
Yeah.
Choices. Offer choices whenever you can.
Oh, that.
Giving a sense of control can sometimes really reduce that resistance.
That's interesting. So it's like instead of just saying do your homework, I say do you want to do your homework before dinner or after dinner?
Exactly.
Got it.
It empowers them, and they don't feel like they're just being bossed around. Now, what about the long game? How do we encourage, less stubborn behavior over time?
Right. We want them to cooperate, not just do it because we said so.
Yeah, you want to build that into them. I think positive reinforcement is really key here, acknowledging and praising good behavior, even small efforts. It shifts the focus to what they're doing right, which is so much more motivating.
That makes sense. So if that kid who didn't want to do their homework, if they even just crack open the book, I should be like, good job.
Yeah, acknowledge it, celebrate those small wins. And remember, you're setting the tone with your own behavior too.
Oh, right.
You want flexibility and understanding. Then be flexible and understanding.
Got it. So be the change you want to see in the stubborn person. Okay. But with all of this, how do I avoid getting hung up on every little thing? Where do I draw the line?
Pick your battles.
Okay.
Not everything requires a big confrontation. Ask yourself, is this really a big deal? Mismatched socks. Probably not worth getting worked up over.
Okay, mismatched socks. Officially off my radar.
Save your energy for the things that really matter.
Okay, got it. So we're talking about staying calm, understanding perspectives, setting clear boundaries, offering choices, positive reinforcement, and picking our battles. Anything else?
Yeah, try to make it fun. Turn chores into games. Like the teeth-brushing humming contest. Genius.
Okay, so we're staying calm, understanding their perspective, setting boundaries, offering choices, positive reinforcement, being a good role model, picking battles, and maybe even having a little fun along the way.
Exactly. So think about which of these resonates most with you right now. Even a small change, if you do it consistently, can make a huge difference. So what's one thing you're going to try differently next time?